evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 26. DJI status in the USA is July 1st, 2025. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. I want to thank you guys. First of all, good to hear that, Captain Ray, that you're out of the hospital. That's a good thing. I think, Joe America, I think you were in, but you're out now, so that's good to hear that as well. I'm pretty much through my bout of COVID, still tired, still not 100% there. Val thinks she has a rebound effect from Paxlovid, runny nose, that kind of stuff right now. So say a prayer for her as well, too. So it's just, we're real tired. We just want to be done with this stuff. My gosh, what a pain in the butt. Okay, drone shots. Let's see who else is here. Old Farts joining on. Thank you for stopping by. Casey Crime Fighter, welcome, my friend. Waypoint New England, Lauren. Let's see who else we got. Captain Ray is here. Welcome, Captain Ray. Glad to hear you're doing better. Johnny's here. Welcome, Johnny. Let's see who else. Akarasha Warren, welcome. Good to see you guys. Okay. Like I said, yeah, this crud, I'm just over it. And I gotta take a COVID test. I was supposed to have a dentist appointment tomorrow morning. If I test positive, even though I'm feeling bad, I can't go. So I'm going to do that after the show. Mostly, welcome, Art. Good to see you. I'm mostly there. I mean, it's just not sleeping well at night and just stuff. But, it's just like in the nose has just been leaking like a sieve. Have a productive cough. Way too much information for all you guys. Yeah, it is a great day to fight COVID, Casey. It is. That's all I can say. So, and I'm really looking forward to going to the dentist because it's an evaluation. You know, you go once a month, post-operative check. Next month's a big checkup where I'm going to be there at least an hour. They're going to take a scan of my mouth and hopefully hear some good news. And they got to do a full-on X-ray, make sure that my implants have taken. And if they've taken, I probably will get the green light at month 4 to get my permanence in. So I'm really kind of hoping and praying. Having to adjust this diet is a real pain in the tuchus. So, all right, enough of all that. If you guys haven't watched, Josh, and I'm sorry, I forget the other name of the guy. They have a show on Monday nights at 6:00 now. I subscribe to it. Make sure you guys do too. That will be good. And also too, I wanted to make everybody aware of, and I think Josh has invited a bunch of people to this as well too. And I want to put this out here. That's the first annual Northeast U.S. Drone Meetup in Providence, Rhode Island. This is September 5th, 6th, and 7th. And you can, I dropped this in the on Build a Drone Reviewer. Contact Josh if you want more information on this. I believe it is free. There's no charge for that. And to find out more information and to register, they do have a website for that as well too. Sounds like a lot of fun. If you guys have an opportunity to go to this. I know Josh is a part of it. CT Pirate, I think, is who Josh is doing his Monday show with. So check that out. That should be great. That should be a great time. A lot of fun. I know a lot of people will want to get to that. So just want to make everybody aware of that. I think that should be a lot of fun. I think you guys should really enjoy that. So wanted to let you guys know that as well. Still in awe of my cats. Oh my gosh. They just pulled off a miracle. They re-signed their 3 biggest free agents, including Brad Marchand. We'll have Ron and I will have our football talk at the end of the show because there were definitely some updates regarding that as well too. Joe America, Joe, I hope you're feeling better. I'm glad you're here. Marcus, welcome. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Appreciate it. But Joe, I hope you're doing better. I know you had been under the weather as well too. I think you even believe even in the hospital. Maybe I can talk right one of these days. I don't know. Jim Anderson, welcome. Fly Guy Merrill, welcome. Okay. We're going to there's several, actually, believe it or not, there's several kinds of articles that I do want to go over tonight. There's not a lot of updates regarding the Mini 5 Pro or some other things, but we're going to get to all this here in a little bit. Let's do the first thing is this was a real interesting article about the new Matrice, and the FAA approves AVSS parachute for DJI Matrice 4 drones, and you can see there it is, the parachute system on the top of the Matrice 4. Milestone mean operators no longer need to apply for time-consuming Part 107.39 waivers to legally fly drones over people. Huge advantage for those in public safety, infrastructure, inspection, and other critical industries. Approval comes after the PRS M4S successfully completed testing protocol, which includes 49 rigorous parachute deployments verified by a third-party organization. AVSS followed all the steps outlined the FAA-approved means of compliance, making this parachute system a reliable safety upgrade for Matrice 4 drone users. And there's a video out there, and of course, I have links out there. Everything is out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group, Facebook page, and also out on Twitter. So whatever means you want to check this out, please do so here. AVSS is a Canadian aerospace company specializing in drone safety, already has similar FAA approvals for its parachute systems for the Mavic 3 series and M3D TD models. With the addition of the Matrice 4 series, AVSS is widening access for commercial operators who need to fly in complex environments, okay? And it's only at $1,700. When you compare that to the price of the drone, that's a small price to pay. And that sounds like some extremely rigorous testing that they were doing for that. So that's fantastic. So that's good. That's good from a commercial standpoint, and also especially Ben, we're going to talk about that towards the latter half of the show. But that's a good point. Hold on to that thought. That's a good point. Richard, welcome. Good to see you tonight. So that's a good thing regarding the parachute systems there, and that's also good too. Like if you fly, I don't want to use the word commercially, but let's say you're like Ron and you do, real estate photography, that type of a thing, where you could be flying over people. Having a parachute system for your drone could be a lifesaver. And if you can afford it, I would highly recommend doing it. It may even help you out with your insurance. I don't know. You probably need to check with whoever you have your insurance through, but that could make a difference as far as that's concerned. So be that as it may. All right. Okay. Now, DJI is still very much in business around the world right now, and they put out a new drone, and this drone, it's its most powerful delivery drone yet, and it's called the Flycart 100. Flycart's 100 robust design is no accident. It's equipped with IP55 weatherproofing, operates in temperatures from minus 20 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius, resists winds up to 12 meters a second, thanks to a reinforced 4-axis, 8-propeller multi-rotor layout and massive 62-inch carbon fiber propellers. It can fly at altitudes up to 6,000 meters and achieve an empty range of 26 kilometers, okay? DJI's new power system supports both single and dual battery modes. In its max performance single battery setup, the FC100 can carry an 80-kilogram payload up to 6 kilometers. Using dual batteries, it can carry 65 kilograms up to 12 kilometers. Single battery supports a 9-minute ultra-fast charging, can self-heat in cold weather, and lasts for up to 1,500 cycles. That's some great technical improvements for DJI with this. The FC100 ships with 2 lifting systems, a flagship hoist system with a 30-meter retractable rope, and a dual electric version with a 10-meter fixed rope for simpler operations. Safety is another standout. The new DJI drone is equipped with a sophisticated sensor suite, LiDAR, millimeter wave radar, 5-eye fisheye cameras, and nighttime lighting. These provide 360 awareness, intelligent obstacle avoidance, and real-time terrain sensing. New algorithms help the drone automatically deaccelerate near the ground, detect pedestrians and vehicles, and adjust altitude to avoid ground collisions, okay? Pricing, availability, and what's next. The top tier prices starting at $12,400 up to $14,000. Well, there's no official word on a U.S. release. DJI's existing Flycart 30 is FAA compliant, already in limited use for logistics and industrial transport. Okay, that really sounds like an incredible improvement. And again, I think one of the things I wanted to highlight, because we're going to talk about drone deliveries, that's coming up. There was an article out on Drone DJ about that. But the reason that I wanted to highlight this is also too is remember that this technology that you see in these kind of drones right here, CT Pirate, welcome. Glad to see you here. I did subscribe to your and Josh's channel and show, and I did watch part of it. You guys are doing a great job. So kudos to that. And everybody, if you get a chance, go out there and CT Pirate if you can. You know what? I'm gonna give you a wrench here. Why can't I give you a wrench? I don't know. I should be able to. Okay, Captain Ray or somebody, if you can give CT Pirate a wrench, and CT Pirate, if you can drop a link for your show or your channel, or if somebody has a wrench that can do that, because I want everybody to get out there. I want everybody to get out there and subscribe to that, because Josh is a great guy. I know CT Pirate is. You guys were on Drone Nation last night. You guys did a good job. So please make sure that you subscribe to that. That's a good show. Absolutely, CT Pirate. Absolutely. You guys are doing a great job. I watched part of your show. Couldn't watch all of it, but you guys have a great show, and welcome to the club, so to speak. Okay. All right. But again, one of the points of me going over this is this technology that you see on this drone, it will eventually be passed on down to other DJI drones, other, consumer type level drones. And they've always done that. And that's something I think that they'll continue to do as well, too. Yeah, Ray Kelly, if you can give him CT Pirate a wrench, please do so. I can't. I don't know why I can't for some reason. I went out there to try. So, all right. We're gonna move on here. Well, Insta360, they've been doing a lot of stuff lately, and they're out there to get some business, and they just have come out with a competitor to crush DJI Mic Mini. It's a $49 Mic Air. Price is just $49. The Mic Air undercuts the Mic Mini and Rode Wireless Go series by a substantial margin, while delivering a feature set that makes it a true plug-and-play solution for smartphones, Insta360 cameras, and even laptops. Insta360 built Mic Air specifically for its X5 camera, but the mic's design is far from exclusive. It works with Insta360's Ace Pro 2, Flow, excuse me, Flow gimbals, let's see here, smartphone, tablets, and PCs. And the best part, if you're an X5 user, you don't even need a receiver or dongle. Just clip it on using the built-in magnetic mount, and you're ready to roll. Mic records in 48 kilohertz 24-bit audio with built-in noise reduction and a removable windshield, ensuring your voice cuts through wind, traffic, or city chaos with surprising clarity. I'm sorry about this. The mic, let's see here. All right, let's move down here. For broadband compatibility, Insta360 is offering a one transmitter receive bundle for $69, letting creators use Mic Air with devices that require a receiver. Okay. Will do. And if somebody, Ray, if you could post a link to Josh and CT Pirate's show, that would be great. Thank you. It's always been with things also. With all things Insta360, the software experience matters just as much. Insta360 app offers seamless control over footage and audio, and its AI-powered flash cut and shot lab tools allow even first-time creators to produce polished, share-ready content. Whether you're clipping a 360 time-lapse or cleaning up your travel vlog sound, the app makes editing fast and flexible. The Mic Air is a clear signal. Insta360 is building toward a fully integrated creator-first ecosystem. Okay, so yeah, so that's, good for them. They're staying on top of things. I mean, that price is right on something like that. And for something like that, I would definitely give it a try for sure. Oh, yeah, I'm still fighting stuff too, so bear with me, guys. All right, but that's some good news about that. Now, we had just talked about, excuse me here for a second. We had just talked about, I'm sorry, sorry about that. All right, we're here. Okay. We just talked about that new delivery drone that DJI has, and there's a reason I wanted to talk about that, and then this next article here, because I think this is kind of a segue, and I'll just go ahead and throw this up here because I'm sorry, guys. DJI status in the USA. This is all what we're going to talk about from this point forward is pretty much going to be it. Now, this article here talks about DoorDash, and a lot of you guys have used DoorDash before. I haven't. I've used Uber Eats, but pretty much the same kind of concept. DoorDash offers drone delivery to 100,000 plus Texas residents, okay? And it's across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Following a successful pilot, the company's officially launched drone deliveries in parts of Little Elm and Frisco, offering residents a faster and more futuristic way to receive meals from local favorites. Between 8 a.m. and 9:30 p.m., hungry customers can order directly through the DoorDash app and opt for drone delivery at checkout. The service currently covers over 30,000 households, reaching more than 100,000 people, with plans for expansion already underway. The launch marks Flytrekk's first ever integration with the third-party app. Orders are prepared at restaurants, loaded onto autonomous drones, and flown straight to customers' backyards or community drop-off points. And with Flytrekk's drones boasting the region's highest payload capacity, 6.6 pounds now and 8.8 pounds soon, it's not just snacks making the journey through the skies. The earlier pilot program completed over 1,000 deliveries and showed strong consumer interest. Community enthusiasm is fueling the rollout, with public drone drop-off zones popping up throughout the area. The companies also note this technology has empowered local businesses and supported STEM-based events aimed at sparking interest in aviation and robotics. Flytrekk's advanced drone traffic control tech ensures that overlapping communities can be safely served by multiple operators, streamlining flight paths through automated systems. Okay, there's a lot there. You know, and the first thing that really kind of caught my eye right here was they want to have this as part of a STEM program. Okay, well, you know what STEM is, and it's good. It's good for students. It's an educational environment here. Well, that's good on one hand, but then our good friends in Congress and the powers that be want to take drones away from us. Okay. And the whole reason, one of the things that's really kind of impressed upon me is, and we're going to get to really kind of get to the meat of this here in just a few, is part of this, a lot of it, almost all of it, is driven by business, okay? And this is the first part of it, is home deliveries, okay, this DoorDash. And this article came up at a good time because I think two of the companies who are vying for home deliveries across the United States with drones, Amazon and Walmart, all right? And I know they've both had their own programs. They've had limited success, that type of thing. Some of these pilot programs are doing well. This pilot program apparently did well. And with consumer drones out of the way, it makes them very easy to do this, okay? I mean, there's nothing else I can say about that. I really. You're right, Fly Guy. Absolutely. Yeah, I have everybody in our development has problems with Amazon. The last drone development I lived in, we had somebody on a golf cart who was going around stealing packages, believe it or not, from people's porches. They would go out there and look. Well, there's a guy out there who has done glitter bombs and some of these, he's set up these rogue Amazon packages and done glitter bombs and had put an old cell phone in and they would track these people who would steal this stuff. So, but yeah, you're right. You're 100% right with that. Okay. That's not going to work. Yeah. You know, and also too, even if, okay, and I'll make the argument here. Let's say there is no consumer drone activity in that area. All right. Even with that, it's going to be in a community drop zone. I would rather have DoorDash come to my door and deliver me something than me to hop in the car and maybe take a 5-minute ride and go get something. If I'm going to go out and get food, I'll just go all the way. I'll just go 15 minutes, go out there and get it and bring it back. Why? You know, it's just the logistics of it just boggle my mind. I don't get it. I absolutely, positively don't get it. I don't understand. So we'll see how that goes. But, you know, again, this is part of this whole anti-drone, I don't know, anti-drone sentiment here is part of it is due to deliveries, okay? And the big, you know, Walmart, Amazon, and other companies like DoorDash, smaller ones like that, Uber Eats probably will get into it, and other ones. I mean, there's a myriad of good uses for things like this. You know, one of the things that I've seen, and they've had good success with it, is moving, you know, blood samples and other things between hospitals and health systems. Okay. That's done pretty well. Excuse me. That's done pretty well. So, you know, that's there. That's there. That's really there. Now, a couple things that I wanted to touch on. You know, while we don't have the Mavic 4 Pro or here's Ron. How are you, sir?
Hello, Bill. How are you today?
Hanging in there. Val's had a little bit of a Paxlovid rebound from COVID, so she's a little bit back under the weather. I'm hanging in there as best as I can. So,
well, you know, just continue the rest and you know, take it easy.
Yeah, that's about it. Now, I just talked about DoorDash is has already piloted a program and is going to try limited delivery to 100,000 people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, using a drone there. Obviously not a DJI drone. But the next article that I'm going to talk about here, Sean did a great review on the RC Pro 2 after 2 months with it. Sean from Air Photography. And
Air Photography.
He really did. It was a very good review. He did a great job. Sean always does a good job. But this, I really like this. And, you know, for me, you know, and I'll be honest, Ron, I would get this before I would get the Mavic 4 Pro. I really would. I like it that much. And the benefits, he talked about the benefits, and he showed some great pictures as far as screen clarity and other things as well on there too, and compared it to the old controller and some of the new features on there. I really like it. And he talked about the price, and, you know, with everything with all told, you know, he really thinks it's a good value.
Yeah. I mean, and he even mentioned that when you fold it up or whatever, it even fit in, you know, like it even fit in cases and stuff like that. It's not as bulky as you think it would be when it was folded up.
Yeah.
Which is
so, you know, absolutely. So, you know, I still wanted to get this out there because I think a lot of people are still, you know, wanting to hear more about the Mavic 4 Pro and hopefully wanting to get it here in the United States. Well, you know, my take on things, and this is just me, is for me right now, my Air 3 and my Mavic 3 Pro will do the job that I need if I need to get a powerful drone up there. And the RC Pro 2 would be something that I would look at getting before I would get a Mavic 4 Pro. I mean, it's just pure and simple.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if it was for sale in the U.S. through regular channels, I think it'd be a very popular and good selling controller here.
Oh, I agree, Ron. I agree, and you really hit the nail on the head. Is having the right channels, because I think it's B&H and Adorama have it listed, but it's in an inflated price, and you can buy it on eBay, but again, that's an inflated price as well too. So now Ron and I both noticed that it's available on Amazon, but it shows delivery isn't until like December 29th or something like that. I mean, it's really kind of way down the road here, way down the road, as far as delivery was concerned there. So, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about is our friend DC Rainmaker. He does some fantastic tests on videos, and he did one here on DJI Mavic 4 Pro versus the Gauntlet hardest ActiveTrack testing, and he found the limit. And I'll let you guys watch that. I did go out there and see that. He gets into some extreme details with it, and did a tree tunnel test with it, a traditional phase test with it, high speed test with it, and tree weaving, deep dark woods, zoom options, Mavic 4 Pro versus the Gauntlet. And I'll let you watch it and come to your conclusion regarding all of that. Does it look like it worked pretty well, Ron, from what I saw?
Yeah, I mean, since these drones are really not intended to follow people on quick moving things like bicycles and whatever. I mean, you're really asking these drones to do things that they really weren't, programmed to do. If you really want a follow you on a fast moving bicycle, you'd be better off with a Neo or one of the hover drones or something like that, because they follow you. They don't try to make decisions. They don't try to use AI to get themselves around trees and objects. So if they just follow you, so if you can make it through, it could probably make it through. But with a drone like the Mavic 4 Pro, it tries to make these decisions on how to navigate trees and obstacles, and the longer you go, the you're going to hit the point where it makes wrong decisions.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So,
one of the other things.
Again, go ahead, Bill.
Now, today I went out on Twitter because apparently I went out to Senator Rick Scott's webpage and said that he's most active out on Twitter. So what I did was, in a couple of these here, the first one, you're welcome to appear on my weekly drone show Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern to provide us proof that DJI and Chinese drones are a national security threat. And then I also tweeted him, will you provide us with proof that DJI and Chinese drones are undermining our national security? And he talks about my Drones for America Act. And this guy, Sean Campbell, my response to Senator Rick Scott, the foundation of American progress has always been built on competition, innovation, the ability to lead, not isolate. Senator Rick Scott and others are pushing to blacklist global UAS manufacturers like DJI, have yet to present a competitive alternative. This debate is not rooted in national security or desire to strengthen American innovation. It's driven by politics, protectionism, and misplaced priorities. DJI has publicly requested independent audits to address security concerns, offers that have gone unanswered. Meanwhile, their drones are used daily by first responders, infrastructure teams, and public safety agencies across the U.S., saving lives and cutting costs. If the U.S. is serious about leading the drone industry, we must invest in drone innovation and embrace strategic global partnerships. Growth in this sector won't come from bans and bureaucracy. It'll come from vision, collaboration, and a commitment to solve real world challenges. So I had that out there for Senator Scott, and I wanted to share that with you guys, that I extended him an open invitation. Obviously, I haven't gotten any response from he. I'm expecting maybe a response from his staff, but I haven't gotten anything yet, and I'll keep you guys posted on that.
All I can, I can give Rick a little bit of credit in his bill. He talks about things taking effect in 2028, like drone, banning drones, Chinese drones or DJI drones completely by 2028, and Chinese parts by 2031. So at least he kind of acknowledges in his bill that, American drones aren't ready to take the place of Chinese drones or / DJI drones right now. Most bills don't even acknowledge the fact that, there's really nothing ready to go from America. We ban and stuff at this exact moment.
Exactly. Now, I know I brought this up last week, but I do want to spend a little bit more time on this. DJI reports highlights major drone privacy upgrades, the white paper on this. Privacy by design, control by the user. A central theme in the white paper is DJI's belief that users should remain in control of their data. Whether you're a hobbyist flying a Mini 4 Pro or an enterprise operator using a Matrice 400, DJI builds privacy controls directly into its system, okay? And it talks about that, and you have the option. It always asks you about that option. And I know within the past year or so that they changed that to disable any data being sent back to DJI, period, okay? Device security starting at the chip level, and it talks about a secure area of the processor that manages encryption keys and firmware verification. Complementing this is the FIPS certified DJI Core crypto engine, which ensures data encryption and secure firmware updates, okay? In other words, even at the chip level, they have made these drones secure as far as data is concerned. Application hardening and software development kit oversight. Flight apps such as DJI Fly and DJI Pilot 2 undergo rigorous security hardening, including dynamic runtime protections, encryption of local files, and anti-tampering mechanisms. DJI also outlines a suite of software development kits, including mobile payload, edge, and thermal SDKs, are designed with built-in security mechanisms and limited network interaction here. Communication security, OcuSync and 4G protected. As you know, those are very robust and they work very well. I don't think anybody has had a whole lot of problems with those. Cloud and offline data management, and we had just talked about that. The 2025 white paper also clarifies where DJI stores user data depending on its location. US-based operators use American cloud servers, while others may use servers in Japan or Europe, depending on their product and usage. Independent audits and certifications. It talked about what we've talked about all along. DJI continues to invest in third-party validation of its security architecture. Since the previous white paper release, the company has completed a 2024 audit by US-based FTI Consulting, and in 2025 secured ISO 27701 certification to Flight Hub 2, a privacy-focused extension of the well-known ISO 27001. These certifications join an already robust list. Bug bound and community collaboration, meaning if you find bugs, you report them to DJI. They have a bounty program for that. Meaning the moment DJI's white paper, not just a technical document, but as a strategic reassurance as far as that's concerned. Ron, they have gone the extra mile regarding this. And I kind of am in agreement with that gentleman's reply to the senator that, this isn't about security. This isn't about, a security threat to the United States. Okay. And I've said that multiple times as well, too. And I agree with him. This is more, with DoorDash now wanting to deliver in the Texas area, Walmart, Amazon, that's part of it in the mix. Skydio possibly getting back into things. That's probably in the mix. It really doesn't have a whole lot to do with security.
Yeah, I mean, if it did, they would already have done that test. They would have found, that it was transmitting stuff back, and they could already have it banned. But they know what that test would reveal. That test would reveal that everything in his white paper is correct, and it isn't spying or sending data anywhere. And we all know that for a couple of years now, you as a user could put it in local data mode where it never connected to the internet at any point.
Absolutely. And Casey Crime Fighter's right here too. DoorDash, Amazon, Walmart want to take the skies from us to use our drones so they can do deliveries. Exactly. Okay. And, one of the things that I can say, Ron, is, they've done these limited deliveries, and the article that talked about DoorDash, apparently not only to a house, but to a specified zone, like maybe a nearby park or like a playground or some area like that that's more open, which is fine. But, as I pointed out, if I'm going to do something like DoorDash, I want it to come to my house. I don't want to have to take a 5-minute trip to go out and pick something like that up. Okay. If I'm going to use a service,
you might just have a guy deliver it in a car.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to do that, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's really no advantage gained to this, number one. And number two, the whole idea of having to go to a community spot, if you will, to get to make a pickup there really kind of defeats the purpose of a quote unquote home delivery system. Okay. Because if it is a home delivery system, it's supposed to come to your house. Okay. Not to a drop-off point.
There's a great home delivery system already. It's called Amazon.com. It'll come right to your front door.
Yeah. I mean, Amazon without fail has come to my house. I mean, really. I mean, when you live in a new development, it can be a little bit of a challenge. But after like 2 or 3 months here, they've never missed us. Okay.
Yeah. I guess the trade-off would be, Bill, how bad do you need to get the thing that same day? Are you willing to go to a community spot to get that day? Not often do I need something that day.
Yeah. Now, some of the things I can see, like maybe Walgreens, okay, or a pharmacy delivering some medication like that. Okay. I'm all for something like that. I think that would be great. But again, if I'm sick, last thing I want to do is get out in my truck and go drive 5 minutes to go to a pickup point to get it. I might as well just drive to Walgreens myself and go through the drive-through and pick it up. I mean, where's the point in that? So, a drone delivery to my house, yes, I would be also in favor of that. But conversely, if it's coming to a drop-off point, what's the point in that? I mean, seriously.
Right. Unless that driving point's within a short walk or so. People aren't going to go for a drive. And what would happen is that I hate to be in sketchy areas, the thieves would be waiting at those drop-off points.
Yeah. And in John's point, I think the ban is already decided. Everything else is window dressing and fluff. Just my opinion. Hope I'm wrong. I hope you're wrong too, John. I don't know. And I know I watched Drone Nation last night. And last night was a great episode. You had Josh and CT Pirate on. It was a great show last night. And Johnny was on as well. And one of the things that, I was getting kind of out of that as well too is, I don't know whether it was you, Ron, or Marcus mentioned the fact we really don't know anything that's going on right now. Okay. This is something, and I kind of wanted to get this out here for everybody. So I think this is a good discussion point, is we really don't know what's going on here. All right. We throw up these things like a Senator Rick Scott, and, you hear crickets back from things like that. We call our congressman's office or our senator's office and they listen to us, but that seems to be about it. Okay. One of the things that I can say is this, Ron, and I tried to drop it in the chat last night. The NRA is a very powerful lobby. I mean, they're extremely powerful. They have a lot of money behind them. All right. And they have a voice in Congress. All right. So that's why, with gun legislation, they have a big say in something like that. Okay. And they probably blocked a lot of bills from being passed because of them. All right. And I'll speak for ham radio. Ham radio has what's called the American Radio Relay League, ARRL, and they're a lobbyist organization basically. And one of their big functions is to protect the radio spectrum. In other words, for the FCC not to divvy that up. What is allocated to ham radio enthusiasts, as far as the bands are concerned, not to divvy that up, and make sure it's protected for our use, kind of a thing. And they're pretty powerful as well too. We here, as far as drones are concerned, we have nobody. We really don't.
Right. And we're in a unique position almost on like anything else, like the industry I could think of, Bill, where one company dominates the industry so much, at least in the US, that you if you do anything in that one company, almost DJI is almost a hobby in the US. I mean, probably people throw out numbers. 80% of the drones in the US are DJI. So it's no other situation or field is it like that, where if you could stop one company, you stop the whole hobby or industry. So we're totally unique in that situation.
Yeah, and I wish, evidently there's probably, and I'll say this, there's not a lot of money. I wish there was, but in terms of, everybody talks about supporting first responders, okay, and obviously I want to stop and say our thoughts and prayers are with the tragedy that happened out in Idaho, and we pray for the victims' families. We pray for that whole situation. It's just an unspeakable tragedy, okay? A lot of people really like to rally behind first responders at times like that, which we should, and we should always, okay? Our first responders are there to save lives, okay? Whether it's fire, whether it's police, whether it's EMS, they do yeoman's work and they do an exceptional job, okay? And this bill and these bills that are proposed before Congress and everything, all right, you're ripping a tool away from them that will save people's lives, pure and simple, okay? There's no, there's no gray area about something like this, okay? It just literally takes it away, and then you leave these organizations handicapped. Because I know in the state of Florida, Governor Rick DeSantis, he banned DJI and Chinese drones from being used by state agencies, okay? So they have to go elsewhere to get, first responders and so forth, have to go elsewhere to find, drones that will be approved by the state of Florida, which is a real pain in the neck, because there isn't a lot outside of Chinese drones, specifically DJI, Autel, that kind of thing. All right.
Well, that's what the politicians hide behind, Bill. They hide behind, they want you to replace these with American drones, but yet they know, or they don't want to acknowledge the fact that there are very little replacement American drones in place. So I mean, that's only a politician could ignore the fact. Again, they want you to replace Chinese drones with American drones, but they know there really are no American drones. I mean, again, that's a politician spin. We don't. Yeah, maybe there will be American drones 5-10 years down the road, but what about tomorrow? What about next month or whatever? We need the answers for the short term, not 5-10 years down the road.
And I was thinking of a proposed solution that if I ever got Senator Rick Scott on, that I would tell him, I would say, look, okay, it's going to take about 4 to 5 years for an American company to manufacture and build drones the quality like we would have from Chinese drones, specifically DJI, all right? Why not gradually phase out DJI drones from consumer and first responder use over a 5-year period to give, one of these American startups a chance to catch up to DJI and produce the quality drones that DJI has. That would be something that I would propose to them. Phase it out. Don't do it immediately like this. Give everybody a chance here, because, not only, first responder organizations, but there are a lot of people. They estimated, Ron, I think I saw an estimate of anywhere from 125 to 150,000 people have Part 107 certificates here in the United States. All right. And the vast majority of them, I think I saw 70 to 80% use it in some way, shape, or form commercially and make money from this. So your cost,
are they going to let everybody that's out of, that makes money with the drones business, they're going to let us all collect unemployment?
Yeah,
because they get rid of they won't let us have our tools. I mean, that'd be like, okay, any job or whatever. if you're a construction guy, but you're not allowed to use hammers and drills that aren't made in America or something, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and you also think about things like, I know, for example, in Australia, they had a gun buyback program, okay, because evidently, they have very strict anti-gun laws down in Australia. Are they going to have a drone buyback program? Are they going to buy our drones back from us? Give us pennies on the dollar? I mean,
Right.
we've paid good money for
Right.
things like this. And,
Yeah. I mean, well, of course, we assume that nothing's going to happen to the drones we already own. This is just future drones. A lot of people say, if they're so concerned about our current drones being security leaks, why will they let us continue to fly these drones?
Exactly.
If security is the real reason.
And I think I may have mentioned this last week, but and I also sent this in a tweet to Senator Scott, and it's not up on the screen, but I sent to him, I said, why has no other country on the earth banned Chinese-made drones, specifically DJI? You don't see any other country, Ron, that has banned DJI drones. Why? If it's a security concern, wouldn't be our allies like UK and France and Australia and Canada, wouldn't they have banned it if it was a security concern?
No other country's worried about the security but us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, and it also begs to differ too, because I saw some other responses to Senator Scott. What about apps like TikTok? My gosh, how invasive that is. And then let's take it a step further. What about an iPhone? Okay, because they're all made over in China. And the data that people get and acquire on those, and they're not even saying a word about security concern regarding that. And I know I brought this up before too, but a lot of the very inexpensive handheld ham radios are made over in China as well too. And you're talking about communications and being able to pick things up. I mean, talking about security concerns, my goodness, what a vast array of things to be concerned about.
Right.
But yet,
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and like the customs thing or whatever, they stopped DJI products because of the Uyghurs and the forced labor. And can you name me one other product that the customs is stopping besides DJI drones? Are DJI drones the only item ever accused of being made by the Uyghurs and forced labor in China? It's the only one I've ever heard has been stopped.
Yeah. And now, and I know, some of people said, the Osmo Action 5, you can't even get a camera now. And I'm like, what's going on with this?
Yeah. Oh, you can't get a Pocket 3?
Or a Pocket 3. Yeah. Yeah. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember hearing anybody have a story about their Pocket 3 was stopped at customs, but you can't even order them. They've been out of stock even before last week when everything went out of stock. Some of those items like the Pocket's been out of stock for quite a while now.
Yeah. And, Ron, I've got to think some people have made quite a bit of noise regarding all of this and, getting the message out there. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this, but, it's really kind of, I think it's frustrating on my part. And I think, and I'll share for the audience and probably you as well, to see that none of these congressmen or senators or people in government will have really reacted to it. Now, the only one who has, and this is not political, okay? President Trump has said basically, and Marcus talked about that in a video that he did a few weeks ago, that he was the one who wants to initiate this security check. All right. He wants to get the ball rolling with this. All right. Which is a good thing, should be welcome. Okay. And the results should be published to everybody, because if there's a security concern, we need to know about it. And there isn't. They're not going to find anything with this. I'm glad that he initiated this, but it's still, they're dragging their heels, Ron, and all they got to do is keep dragging their heels through December, and then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
and this whole this whole issue with, again, drones is such a small thing that I understand why it's not the focus of the president. I mean, the president has so much to worry about. I'm sure, the drone issue, us flying consumer drones isn't the top of the list. I understand why it isn't. I don't understand why it's a priority list for these senators. If you're a senator like Rick Scott, how can this be at the top of your priority list of all the stuff you have to worry about?
Yeah, there is so much going on right now, about, them, excuse me, using bunker busters against Iran to knock out nuclear production facilities, the fighting between Israel and Iran and all this stuff that's going on right now. And they're paying attention to this.
That's their main focus. They're not writing a bill about I don't know, real concerns that health, U.S. whatever, healthcare, crime, legal immigration, so many big topics. But somehow, these senators take time out from all those issues that matter to real people and move drones to the top of the list. I don't understand it.
I don't either, Ron.
Does Rick Scott have a stack of letters on his desk? What in DJI drones banned? I don't think so.
Yeah, one thing that I do know after having done some research as far as contacting congressmen and senators are concerned, not only do they, the staff are the ones that really look at the replies and respond back and everything. But one thing that they do make mention of to the representative or the senator is the number of responses they're getting on a daily basis, whether both positive and negative, because if they're getting a lot, that means that senator or congressman is going to pay attention to what's going on. Okay. So, one of the things I can say, it's not going to hurt. Call your congressman, call your United States senator's office up, and if you live in a major city, you can find the United States senator's office there. Don't call the one in Washington, D.C., because you're more than likely you'll get a voicemail, and don't leave a voicemail. They'll never get it. They'll never get it. But I've called my congressman.
Yeah. Can you imagine somebody saying, "Hey, Rick Scott"? Can you imagine the assistant saying, "You got a voicemail from Bill the drone reviewer on here"? Yeah, they're never going to say that. You're right, Bill.
Exactly. Okay. So don't leave a voicemail.
Yeah, Johnny did talk to the guys that wrote that bill in Louisiana, and they kept asking Johnny, "Aren't you concerned with the drones surveying the coastline and stuff for the invasion and so on?" I mean, and think about Johnny's story about, let's say, in Louisiana, the government signed that bill where law enforcement could take what they call marauding drones out of the air. But back to your point earlier, what if the Amazon drones flying around, or DoorDash drones flying around, and the police officer just thinks, "Oh, that's a marauding drone. Let me take that drone down. It's got your package and everything in it."
Yeah, I mean, that is borderline unconstitutional, and just the FAA has rules against shooting drones down. I mean, in the Louisiana, the government of Louisiana is going to circumvent the FAA. I mean, wow, good luck with that, because as Ron, shooting down a drone is a federal offense, which is punishable by serving time in prison. Okay, there's no slap on the wrist. You shoot a drone down, you're going to serve jail time for that. Okay, it's a federal offense. It's not a state or a local offense. It's a federal offense, and you'll go to federal prison, not a state or a local prison. Okay, so what they're trying to do down there, it's I hate to use the term Dukes of Hazzard, but they're trying to Dukes of Hazzard this. Okay, and take justice into their own hands, and it's not going to work. Okay.
Well, we got senators like Mike Lee. We got senators like Mike Lee that are trying to give the first 200 feet back to states. So if Mike Lee has his way, places like Louisiana will have the first 200 feet.
Yeah.
Johnny's saying it's take effect in August.
Well, the other thing with this too, let's say, there's a drone up there and they go to shoot it down, and let's say they may accidentally hit a private plane when they're doing this. Okay.
Right. Right.
I mean, it opens up such a can of worms, Ron. It's not funny. It's just not funny at all.
And they didn't say they shoot down. They said they could use kinetic methods. They have those things that take drones down electronically. The other ways to take the drones down. They said I'm getting a lag from me, Bill. It's funny. I think I'm getting a lag from you or whatever, but it could be me, Bill. I've got a pretty bad thunderstorm going on outside, so I may have sort of a sketchy internet connection tonight.
That's probably it, Ron. So, we're going to wrap up the drone part of the show here because there is some football we do need to talk about tonight.
Well, there was a big trade. Is it
huge trade?
Bill, Fitzpatrick is going in Pittsburgh.
Yep. And you know what's really funny is because, and obviously you all know I follow the Florida Panthers, and you're welcome, more than welcome. By the way, my Florida Pens Den, all right, on Facebook, it's grown from 45 people to over 600 people literally in like 3 or 4 days. Okay. The content
Stanley Cup will do a lot for your numbers.
It sure is. It's doing a great job. Well, because I follow a lot of people with South Florida sports, okay? Because Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, it's not only, it's the Heat, it's the Marlins, and it's also the Dolphins, okay? And the guy who does the television, Steve Goldstein, he does the television for the Panthers. He also does games for the Dolphins too, all right? And he said, big trade, what do you guys think? And I said, you know what? And this is my take on it, okay? Because Fitzpatrick had an atrocious season. The past 2 years was atrocious for him. His rank as a safety in the NFL was like 56th or something like that. Was just way off the charts. I said, you know what? The Steelers did fantastic, okay? And the Dolphins are getting back damaged goods. Because I think Tomlin messed with Minkah Fitzpatrick, okay? Because last 2 years, he wasn't himself. He was horrible out on the field, Ron. Horrible.
So Tomlin, what do you call he fleeced the Dolphins on this trade, huh?
Yeah. Well, the general manager Omar Khan. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I mean, yeah. They just got. I think they got great returns.
Is it about contract? Is it anything to do with contract? Does Ramsey have a pretty on team unfriendly contract or something like that they're getting back?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with money. That the Dolphins are going to have to shell out a whole lot more money, and they were willing to take a gamble in getting Fitzpatrick back. So. I don't know.
Because the Dolphins' strong suit hasn't been defense the last couple of years, right?
No, it hasn't. No, it absolutely haven't. So, we'll see where all this goes. But that's a breath of fresh air as far as that's concerned. And then the whole drama queen Aaron Rodgers saga as well too. They're already saying the Steelers are going to draft a quarterback after Rodgers officially retires after the season for next season. I'm just like, whatever. Okay. Whatever. There's also a lot of rumors going around too that Tomlin's going to get fired after this year.
Yeah. Well, Jalen Ramsey, he's also a big personality like Rodgers. Ramsey has the reputation of being a kind of a prima donna. So now they've got their second prima donna. They get their defensive prima donna now to go along with Rodgers.
Yeah, Josh, I agree. It's just, they had all this talk last year, Ron, okay, when they had getting Russell Wilson in and Justin Fields, and they're going to set the world on fire. They made all these offseason pickups, and what was it? One game over 500, make the playoffs, one and done. I mean, typical Tomlin, non-losing season, make the first game of the playoffs, get blown out in the first round. Oops, sorry, not again. But oh well, so sad. You guys are done.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, we'll see. We'll definitely see.
Well, John,
you think?
I think the Lions will be there. Okay, the Steelers.
Oh,
it may be in a fantasy league. They may get there, but it won't be the real one. Okay. It will not. The Lions, yeah, I could see the Lions for real getting there. Steelers, no way. No way.
Now the Steelers did pick up a tight end in that trade. That got Jonas Smith in trade also.
Yep. They got 2 for 1.
He's bounced around a little bit. He used to play for Tennessee at one point. He's bounced around, but he had a decent year in Miami last year. So the Steelers can use all the pass catchers they can get down there, right, for Rodgers.
Yeah. And, well, like I said, Omar Khan, they were ready to crown general manager the year before the season even started last year. Oh,
yeah.
What
did you see what Josh said? Did you see what Josh says? The standard is the standard.
Oh, there we go. Josh, you know as well as I do. I have heard that speech from Mike Tomlin 1,000 times, literally. Okay, the standard is the standard. Blah blah blah. I'm like, talk to the hand. All right, I've heard it so much.
Code speak, huh? Yeah, code speak. Bucks are going to win versus the Patriots.
I think the Eagles have set themselves up for success. Okay, I think the Eagles
repeat
will be back there. Yeah, and I think it may be against the Bills this year. I think that they'll finally
find the Bills are finally going to break through the barrier and get there, huh?
Well, it's like for 2 years in a row, the Panthers go to the finals and they're playing the Edmonton Oilers, and everybody says, oh, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and look what happened. And I've told this to people, and I got a podcast coming up, and I said, you know what, Ron, if they didn't blow leads in game 1 and game 4, they'd have swept Edmonton this year. It wouldn't have been 6 games, it would have been 4 games. Done, gone, just plowed right through them. No question.
You were at one of the games where that big lead evaporated, right?
Yeah, I was at game 4. They were up 3-0. That's the first time in Stanley Cup Finals history that a team was up 3-0 in the first period, ended up losing the game.
What happened to the Panthers in that period? Was it kind of a breakdown, or
that second period? And it was the coach said it right. It was a matter of feet in inches. Really, there were a lot of deflections. Players were maybe a step or 2 behind in the second period, and Edmonton tied it up. I mean, it was just they were just a little bit more on the spot than the Panthers were, not much. But then the Panthers tied it up with like 14 seconds left in the game. All right. So I'm like, oh, this is great. We're going to, and then in overtime, the guy who ended up getting the MVP for the playoffs, Sam Bennett, he hits the post and it looked like it went in the net. We're all like ready to stand up, and it didn't. It was like, and then about 3 minutes later, Edmonton scores a game-winning goal on a deflection. It was a fluke deflection that went in, and they were just like, oh, that was pitiful.
They should have had Tomlin in there saying the standard is the standard after that game.
Yes, exactly. The standard is the standard. Well, then they came out like a house of fire in game 5 up in Edmonton, and they totally dominated. And then game 6, when we went there, I went to game 6 as well. It really was a dominating game. I mean, I really had a good feeling after the first period, and then definitely after the second period. They weren't going to have a collapse like they did in game 4. And they really kind of took it to them.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, the big question tonight is what will happen first? DJI drones will go back on sale in the U.S. or the Steelers win the Super Bowl? What happens first?
DJI drones will go back on sale in the U.S. Steelers winning a Super Bowl. You know what? The best I can hope for this year is Aaron Rodgers has a track history of getting coaches fired, and you know what? That would be, I would want to get a GoFundMe together to send a lot of money to Aaron Rodgers to say thank you from all Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Okay.
He takes Tomlin down with him. Yeah, yeah. Hey, Bill, before we go, I do want to say, rest in peace to Dave Parker, one of the one of the
Yeah,
great baseball players of our generation. Of course, he was a Pirate on a '79 World Series team, and he also played for his hometown Cincinnati Reds afterwards, and he had a very good career.
he really did. And I got to say this, since Roberto Clemente, he was the consummate right fielder. His defensive skills were outstanding. He had a cannon for an arm. And I remember, I think it was in the All-Star game. I think it was in '79.
We all remember that All-Star game. Yep.
He threw somebody out at the plate, and it wasn't even close.
And the guy didn't know what hit him. The guy got thrown at the plate, couldn't believe it. He didn't know what hit him.
Yeah, he had an incredible arm. He could hit for power to all fields. He had great base running skills.
But he wasn't just some big free swinger. He could also hit for average too.
Yeah, he did. He hit for average as well too. He was a consummate. He was one of my favorite Pirates of all time because he played the game. He played the game hard every single time he went out there. And Ron, it was so ironic because the induction ceremony is July 28th. He was like 4 weeks short of being able to make the induction ceremony. Yeah. And it just that broke my heart when I heard that.
They made him wait so long. There's a nice picture on Facebook today on one of the Pirate groups where it was him, Clemente, and Willie Stargell together. It probably was the year, the spring training that the year Clemente died. I mean, I don't think Parker made the big team that year, but they had all three of them together in a spring training photo.
Yeah, I've seen that picture before too, and that's a great picture. That really is. I mean, it's just I was horribly saddened to hear that about Dave Parker. And Parkinson's is just a hideous disease to have, and enough of that coughing stuff. So I'm done with that.
But anybody, and Dave Parker was one of the biggest players too, right? I've ever seen. He was massive size.
Yeah, he was built like a linebacker, Ron. He wasn't built like a baseball player. He was built
but he wasn't slow. He could move for a big guy. He could run for a big guy though.
He had great speed. He had great base running skills. A lot of people didn't give him credit for that. But wow, he could really motor around the bases, okay? And you know what? You did not want to be a catcher with him coming into home plate, okay?
Oh, boy, you're blocking the plate, yeah. That 79 Pirate team that he was on, was that the last Pirate team to win a World Series?
Yes, that was the last time they won the World Series was in '79.
Family Pirates or whatever, right?
Yep. His skills out in right field were just – the only person he ever close to reminded me of was Clemente, okay? Because the way he fielded balls and his arm, it was fantastic. He both offensively and defensively, he was a real blessing. He really was to have him on your team. And it was great. He got to play for the Reds too. He closed out his career with the Reds, where he was born and raised. He
saw some good years over there. It was his hometown team. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He sure did. And like I said, it's just, I was so sad to hear that really, because I got to see him play, and it was just a treat seeing him play. Well, you know what his nickname was? They called him the Cobra.
Cobra. I forgot the Cobra. Yeah.
Because he would get up there and he would be like this all the time with his bat, all the time. And he would get pitchers unsettled. He really could get pitchers unsettled, which I thought was fantastic. I mean, he was, like I said, I can't say enough nice things about him, and it was such a joy and a treat to be able to go to games and watch him play. I saw him play, dozens and dozens of times. Just a great athlete and just a great ambassador for baseball. He really was.
Well, I guess we better close it out now. Note we're not the 9:09 mark, Bill.
Yep, we're at 9:09 here. We're going to close things out, and again, we get any updates on things, be sure to watch Drone Nation. Be sure to watch Rotor Talk. And also Josh and CT Pirates, Drone Rogues, I think is there.
Drone Rogues, right.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to it. And Josh, please drop a link here for your channel. And also on Unveiled Drone Reviewer, drop a link as well, because I want to make sure people see it and can get subscribed to it. I was telling CT Pirate, you guys did a great job for your first show. Keep up the good work. You'll get people to join. Don't worry about that. So that's it. That's all we got for tonight. We're pushing forward here. So we get anything, we hear anything, we'll let you guys know. As always, guys, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your evening.